Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Let's learn today about the static class data. So what is the static class data? Let's try to do an example to understand this. If we have a class, for example, some ABC, this is my class, and I'm having, say, for example, int A, B, and C, three variables, and I got static int S and some member functions, maybe like void. This will be in a private, and now these guys will be in the public. Okay? If I don't write the private, it is still private, because all class, whatever class I have, if I don't write, it is by default as a private, you know that. And if I don't write, it is private, but I can create a public part like this, and this section is public, and I am having some void get data, a function, and void set data. I've got two functions, set and get functions. These are the prototypes. As you can see, we have the terminators. We'll write them outside the class. And basically, what is this static int S? What will happen is, tomorrow in the main, when we create an object of this class ABC, at that moment of time, memory is given to this class. And how memory will be given is, we will have a method area in the memory, a method area. Now method area will constitute this get data and set data. Okay? These get data and set data functions, they will be common, because the code is common for all the objects. For example, we created 10 objects, for example. For the 10 objects, we will have get data and set data that will be common. Okay? Now, this ABC, but they will be of separate copy, A, B, and C. A, B, and C. For example, we have two objects, object 1 and object 2. They will have separate copies of A, B, and C. And with a static variable, this one, static int S, this will again be common. This S will be common to all the objects. So no matter if you create some 100 objects, that static variable will be common. So we call it that it belongs to the class. That is, sometimes these are called class variables, because you have one copy of static variable, but all the instance variables like ABC, they belong to a particular object, and they will have separate copy. That means if object 1 alters ABC, it will not be reflected in object 2, because A of object 1 is different than A of object 2, but S of object 1 is same as that of object 2. That means if object 1 increments, for example, S, that will be reflected in the object 2. So I guess you got a little memory map of the static variable, which is single copy, and method area will have all the methods. They are again, single copy. But variables, what's called instance variables. Instance variables, because they need the instance of a class that is an object. So they are actually having separate copies. Now, what we're going to do is, we'll do a program of chat program, because if we have a chat program, we need to understand how many people are in a chat room. At that moment of time, a particular person, a male or a female, he is an object, but a count variable which counts how many persons are in the chat room. That means that needs to be a static variable. So we create a program in which we have a chat program where a count variable will be static, which will count how many objects will be there, because all objects will share the same copy. Okay? So here we go for our program. Okay, here we go with our chat program. We'll create a class here. Okay, class chat. Fine. Then with the syntax of braces and the terminator. Then we have in the private section, we'll create some variables like integer, whether you are male or you are female. I say M and F, that's male or female, which are trying to enter into the chat room. Then I will create a static variable, static int count, which will tell us how many people are there in the chat room. Now in a public section, we will have a lot of stuff. Now first I will create a constructor of type chat. Okay, this is a default constructor which will initialize my male and female to 0. I say M is equal to F is equal to 0. It should be all small. M is equal to 0 or F is equal to 0 or whatever. This is my default constructor. When I call it, it will actually do what? It will initialize my male and female with the 0 values. Then I will have a member function. So member function need to have a return type that's wire. That is, should I say M increment is my member function, which will increase the male part. Okay, if I am having a male, if my male enters the chat room, I will increment it here. So, and also if the male increments or female comes in or male comes in, my count variable always tells how many people are there. So that means count will increment all the time, whether male or female counts. But M, that is the number of males, also increments when the male counts. So I have to say count plus plus all the time. Okay, and also male and female, also one thing here, that male and female I put it as 0, but count need not to be put at 0 because it's initialized automatically by the compiler. So it will be 0, but M and F will have junk value, so they need to be initialized as 0. That's why I use a default constructor to initialize that. And F, M and F, they're initialized here, and count directly I increment it without initializing because my compiler actually will initialize it. Good. So what I'm going to do here is F plus plus, that is, I should say male plus plus, I'm saying female plus plus. So should I say M plus plus, and that is my function. And I copy this and I'm going to paste it here, and I say F increment, that is my female is getting incremented. So again I have to do count plus plus and F plus plus. Let me create another function here which is about decrementing. If the male leaves the if someone male or female leaves my chat room, then what I'm going to do is I have to decrement my male as well as count. Is it? So let us do the decrements here, like we did for the increments. So let me simply paste it, then change it. Okay, so this is male. I will not say increment, I have to say decrement. Okay, male decrement. So count will go minus minus, and also my male will also decrement. The number of males will also decrement. Okay, but here I will not do it like this because maybe there is no males in the chat room and I want to decrement it. So I have to see whether there is some person there or not. If count, for example, is equal to 0, what does that mean? That means there is no person at all in the chat room. So in that case, what should I see out? I should give information that backslash n maybe, so that's a new line, that no person in the chat room. Okay, so there's no person at all in the chat room because my count is 0. Count is number of males plus females. When it is 0, there is nobody in a room. Else I will say, now if count is not 0, but that doesn't mean that male are there. That doesn't mean that males are not there. If the count is not 0, say for the count is 10, there could be all 10 females. Okay, then I have to check if the count is not 0, then it will go here. If the count is 0, it will simply say that in the chat room there is no one. But if the count is something, it will not, this if will be false, it will go to the else part. But here I will have to see whether my males are there or not. Are you getting me or not? So what I'm going to do here is in the else part, I will say if m, because m holds the male count, not equal to 0. If they are not equal to 0, then what I'm gonna do is I should do this stuff. If male count is not 0, that means there are males in my chat room. Getting or not getting? And if the count is something, that means count is say for example 4 or 5, but males are equal to 0, that means this will not run. That means there are no males at all. Then I have to give that information in an else part. Okay, and this else actually is the else of this if, and inside this else, that is I have to give information cout, what else, no males, no male in chat room. And then I have to close this else. Now look what's happening here is, first we are checking about the count. If the count is 0, means there is no person at all. Then else there may be person. Now if the person are there, it may be male or it may not be male. It may be all female. So we have to check if m is not equal to 0, means there are some males. Then I will decrement the male. If there are males, then decrement the male. If there are no males and you are trying to decrement the male, I will say no male in the chat room. So no need to decrement this thing. Okay, same stuff we got to do with the female. I just copy paste it and I will call it as a female f decrement. Okay, and again I'm saying if count is equal to 0, no person in the chat room. Else in the if part, I will not say no m, I will say the female. If the females are not there, if the female count is not 0, then you're gonna decrement the female count. Okay, else you will say there are no female in the chat room. Fine. And one more function which I will have, that is about the display. And this display function will make it a bit interesting. Okay, what we're gonna do here is I will say void show, for example show method, and I am going to say here chat f. Now what is this chat f? This is the argument of type class, because what is my class name? If you go on the upside and see my class name, that's chat. So I am creating here the argument of type chat, that's f. Then when we create an class type variable, it is an object. So I will create a temporary object because this show will be common function for male as well as female.
Now I can pass to it my male object, I can pass to it as a female object, for example. Then I will chuck in what is the count of male, what is the count of female. Before I will discuss this, I will write this function. Let's go to the main and start writing the main part of the program. Then I will come back to this program, to this method of show. What is in the int part? Int main, int arg, all the stuff, and it's the main function and all. So what we do here is, what should be the first thing we will do? First thing is to create the objects of my class. And what's my class name? That is chat. So I'm creating chat type 2. I will create two objects, one for male and one for female. So two different objects. Okay. So I will say male comma female. So I have two objects, male and female. Now you can understand that male and female are two objects. That means this m and f, two integer variables of this class, will be separate copies given to the male object as well as to the female object. But this count variable will remain constant. Okay, good. So let us start writing our our main part now. After creating the male and female two objects, what should I do? You tell me. I've got some idea what you want to do. If you don't have any idea, let us start working with it. You just concentrate, because we want to increment our males and females when they come to the chat room. If the male object comes, I have to increment male, but at the same time I have to increment count, because count increments the person. And if the female comes, I have to increment the female as well as the count. Now count is a static variable that's common to the both of these objects. Okay, we will also take up here two variables. One is about the choice, what kind of choice a user, whether he want to exit, he want to enter the room, he want to get out of the room, and like that. So that will be character ch, short for choice. And also whether you are male or female, you have to tell us whether you are male or you are female. Okay, then we will have a do while loop. Now we will have a do while loop, and this will be my while, and I will say while 1. While 1 means this will loop all the time. This will loop infinitely unless inside, that means we have to do inside something to get out of this loop, because this will run forever, because I'm saying it's an infinite loop. 1 means true here, while true means always true. That means it never ever goes false. So we have to do inside something by which we can go out of this loop. So the first thing we do is we will ask user about the choice. So I'm saying cout, okay, \n, enter your choice. What kind of choice you are, like for example, do you want to enter the chat room, or you want to go out of the chat room, or you want to get out of the program? So three choices I will take here. I will say E. If he says E, that means, for example, enter. CR means chat room, okay, or he may say X, that means to exit from the chat room. That means exit from the CR chat room. Or we may say Q. Q means, for example, quit the chat room, quit the program, actually, basically not only the quit the chat room, but quit the program. So quit program, quit P is means that is you want to quit all program. So enter your choice, that we have to take that choice in somebody, and for that we have this ch. Okay, so we say ch is equal to getcha. The getcha will take one character from the keyboard and put that in the ch. Now, depending upon whether I have put e, x, and q, I will do stuff like that here. So first is that if you have put the q, that means you want to quit the program. So if you want to quit the program, then there is no need to go forward. So first, which I check the if ch is equal to, in a single quotes I will say q. If you have said quit, then I shouldn't do anything, rather I should go out of the program by using the exit 0. That means get out of the program, because user wants to go out of the program. Now in the otherwise, if you have not done this, because if you have, the moment you say q, it will go out of the program. No matter what is after the exit, that will not be executed. Okay, now what is after that? If you have not entered the queue, then I will ask you, that means you have entered either E or X. Means you are trying to enter or you are trying to exit the chat room. Now if you are trying to enter the chat room, I need to know, are you male or female? Okay, similarly, if you want to exit the chat room, I want to know who is getting out of the chat room. Is he male or female? Because I have to update my variables like male count and female count, and also the count which keeps the person count. Okay, so for that I'm saying that male female, which I said mf, is equal to getcha, means getting character from the male and female, and but before that I should say user that are you male or female, isn't it? I say cout. This exit is with this if, so no need to keep braces because it's one statement only, so you can do it like that. And the cout is outside, and I'm saying cout \n enter m for male or f for female. So get this choice into the MF. Now listen, if you have entered Q, it will quit, but if you have entered enter or exit, then first it will see whether you are male or female. That is in this variable mf. That's why we created this m_f to see whether you are male or female. Now depending upon your choices, the first thing is whether you're male or female, I have to accordingly call the member functions of the class chat. And second thing is whether you have entered or exited. You want to enter the room or you want to exit the room. On that basis also I have to do the job, increment or decrement, isn't it? So better I put this in a switch case. So I say switch, what else? What should I switch? m_f. So I switch this, and I would like to see that what else if there is a case m, that means you have entered that you are a male. Now if you are a male or you are a female, there could be two cases. The another case will be of if you are a female. The system is running a little bit slow. Okay, but in both cases, whether you're male or female, we have two cases. Whether you want to enter or you want to quit. If you want to enter, then I have to increment. If you want to quit, then I have to decrement. Now that is the choice here given already, that you want to enter or you want to exit the chat room. And you are a male or female, depending on that we have two cases. But inside we will have two cases for these. You want to enter or you want to exit. So again, I have to use a if condition. If your choice ch is equal to enter. If you want to enter the chat room, then what should I do? Tell me. I have to increment. Is it or not? If choice is equal to e, that means you want to enter, then I will say male dot. If you look at it, because I want to do then the increment. That is my here in my class. Then I have to do this. This piece of code is to be run. M increment is to be run. Is it? I will copy this, but this m increment is common to both of the objects because I have two objects, male and female. Should I call the m increment of male or should I call the m increment of female? Because this time I should call the m increment of male because I am talking about male, m. So that's why I said male dot means m increment of male. Similarly, if I want to increment the female, I have to say female dot because this object has a handle to that member function. Okay, and I will say male dot m increment. Simply paste it, and that's it. And then it will also have the else part here. Else part here, that else if ch is equal to exit x, because if you have tried to enter the room, that I have to increment, but if you exited, I have to call the decrement of the male object, is it? So what should I say then? I should say male dot I don't know what's the name of that function, decrement function of male, that is m decrement, is it? I will just copy it and I will paste it here. Where? In here. Okay, and then what I will do is, when I'm done with it, because my while loop will run forever, I have to use a break to get out of the loop. Otherwise, do while loop will run forever. Fine or not? It will run. This break basically gets me out of the switch, not out of the do while loop. Okay, this is because case M, we have to apply the break. Otherwise, go to the F. So in the F again, is it? I'm having again these two choices, so better I copy it and I paste it here. So now choice, if the choice is enter, okay, or choice is exit, but you are female, then I shouldn't say male, rather I should say female, and here also female dot decrement. Is it? You have to female increment or female decrement depending on your choice, whether you want to enter the room or you want to leave the room. Getting me or not? And in the default case, then we will have a last is a default case. In the switch, we can have a default case. What will the default? Maybe you have not entered M or F. That means you have given a wrong choice. So I have to say that maybe you have given a wrong choice. You should give a good choice, right? So I'm saying wrong choice present or whatever. What do you want to give? Good information also. Whatever. Then that will be the end of the switch here. So this is my end of switch. Okay. Now this is the end of a switch case. I'll write it. Switch finishes here. Fine. Now after I have finished the increment or decrement of my male or female depending upon your choices. Now what I will do here is I will say male dot what was that function called? Show. It's called show, isn't it? SHOW. And I will send it as an object of a female. Now this one is a little interesting. And then I will have one brace. Should I have a brace here of someone? Okay, no brace. Now what about this function? So this function is actually the male's function. I'm calling this function the show function, which I haven't written yet. I'm calling this function, and the object which is calling is the male. and I am sending argument to this function as a female object. So I'm sending here as a female object as the argument to this function. That's why I have to catch it, because female is an object. So this female will go into the f of a chat because it's of type class, because female is of type chat. So I have to pass this member function an object. So I have to catch it using its data type, that is the chat. Now this female will be passed to the f. So this f is actually the female, and the function is called by the male. Okay, so we have to write this function now. But before that, I would like to say, when will this go out of this while loop? Because I'm saying it is all the time true. It is while 1. So when will this go out of the loop, do while loop? It will only go when you press the Q, means to exit from the program. Otherwise, it will run all the time for ages into this do while loop. Okay, it will never ever get out of this loop unless you don't say Q or you don't shut down your system. So you say Q, it will go exit 0, it will go out of the program. Otherwise, it will all the time come back and ask you the choices. And if you're male or female, then under male or female, you have two choices, whether you want to enter the chat room or you want to leave the chat room. If you want to enter, then increment the male and also the count. If because it's a member function, it's being called, and that is in the main, which increments the male count and increments the count, also static variable also. And female increments also will be done if you have entered the choice F means female. Okay, so that's here. So you want to increment or you have to decrement according to your choice, whether you want to enter the male or you want to decrement, you want to leave the room, chat room. Now after that, I want to show, and I am calling the show function using the male object, and I'm sending it as a female object. That means my show function is belonging to the male, because female object also can access the show, because the method area, as I've shown, the show and all the methods, they will have are common. But this time male is calling it and I'm sending female to it. So what should I write inside? I will see out something, means I will print something, that number of males. As you could see, that it is the function called by the males. Okay, so by the male, and the m is being incremented by the male, because male object doesn't affect this f, even though he has the f, but he doesn't affect the f because he increments the m plus plus only. Female object uses this member function to increment the f. Now even though male has both m and f, but f of male, we have not done anything to it. Okay, and here this function is of male, so male can access its variable directly, but it cannot access the variables of the female. And for female, I have to use the female object. That's why I have passed the female object here to access the data members of the female object. Male, this function again I'm saying is of the male, so it can access the male variables directly. So I will say number of males is equal, so double quote close, and I can say directly m. What is m is the male here. I have created the m. Okay, so this will be simply the m, and maybe I will say and l. And then if I want to say what is the, I will copy it and paste it here, then change it. Then if I say number of females, if I want to say number of females, now you must know that the females is incremented by the female object, and the female object, no, it's f copy. Now male object has the MNF, female also has the MNF, but female was incrementing the female data, and it is the female who knows it, female object I'm saying, so that is in F because I have passed female to chat F. As you could see here, I am passing to the show function female object, so F is basically the female. Okay, so if I want to access the female, I cannot use directly the F. Can I use directly F? Because this F will be of the male, and we haven't done anything to that. It doesn't have the female count, but the female object's F is being incremented all the time and the females comes in. So that means we have to use this F, that is F dot F. That means female objects F to tell us female. Okay, and also if I want to have here the total, what are the total guys here? I will say total number of people, and that is in the count, because count is the guy who knows exactly what is the total number of guys. Okay, I guess we are finished here because this is the end of the class. Before I run it, let's give it just a little bit of look. So what we've done here is a class chat with the two data members M and F, and also a static integer count, and count will be for all the objects common, and M and F will be the two variables which are, separate copies given to all the objects we create, and we are creating two objects, male and female. Now this will be initially M and F will be initialized to 0 when we do what? When we create the objects, and then we have increments, male increment and female increment, and male decrement and female decrement, and here we are also incrementing and decrementing the count variable, which says total number of, and if we have to decrement, we have to see first whether the count is 0, then there's nobody in the chat room, or if male count is not 0, that means then I have to decrement the male, otherwise I'm gonna say that there are no males in a chat room. And same story with the female. Then this show chat is a bit different, where I send as a object, and this is being called by the male, so this function belongs to the male, but I'm sending it to the female to access the female members. So that's why F dot means this F dot F. If it is getting it's a bit, I say FM female, then FM. Okay. So female will be copied here, because when I call it, I'm calling it here, as you could see, show female, and I'm sending the female object which I have created here, and that is copied into the FM, and FM.F is the female count, and number of females and number of males will be given, and count will be given by the show function, and the main class is simple, where I create the data members and I create the choice variables, and then I use the getcha to get the choice from the keyboard, and if the choice is Q, then I'm going to exit from the loop of this do while, and this is the only way I can go out of the loop. Is it? Otherwise it will run forever, because I'm saying while 1. Similarly, switch cases use it for the male, and if you have not entered the queue, means you want to enter or you want to leave the chat room, then I have to see whether you are male or female. Accordingly, I will work. And at the end of the switch case, I will see how many are males, how many are females, and how many are total people in the chat room. That is the male.show female, and we run forever. One more thing we need to do here is, because we have getcha and we have the exit 0, for that we need to add up 2 more files. One is hash include conio.h, for your, and then hash include process.h. Process.h will be used for the exit 0, and con.h will be used for your what is called as, what we have used here, I will show you the get check. Okay, and that's it. So hopefully you have understood all the pieces. Now you just write it and try your hands on it, and just do little bit of changes here and there, and I think this would have cleared up the static variable concept, because static variable, whether you have male or you have female, if male is incrementing the count, female is also incrementing the count variable, and it's all the time reflecting in all the objects because it is a single copy given to all the objects. Okay, hope you got it. See you next time.